based on other Fiverr gigs that are similar. So yeah, but let's just get into the video. As always, in the description will be the links to the original posters and their stories. All credit goes to them. Okay, so this first one is by Daikon Competitive 147. Am I the a-hole for silently changing my son's name after my brother and sister-in-law gave my nephew the name too? My wife and I had our son 4 months ago. We had a name chosen early in her pregnancy. We kept that name to ourselves, but my sister-in-law, married to my brother, found it out when she was still pregnant with my nephew, almost 7 months old. She never said how. She just told us she loved the name, congrats, and she couldn't wait to meet him. We assumed she snooped because she was not told. Sorry for my dog. I even mentioned it to my brother, and he said that his wife does like to browse through people's things like it was no biggie. Then when my nephew was born, they announced his name, and it was the name we chose. First, middle, and last name. My brother called right after sister-in-law posted the announcement, and he told me to keep quiet because his wife had a rough birth, and she didn't need drama, and he knew we might not like it, but she really wanted the name. Her reason: my brother and I have matching twin names, and sister-in-law wanted to connect our 2 boys by just giving them the same name so they were each other's namesake. My wife and I talked it over and we decided to pick a different name, but we'd pretend to keep the original name until there was 0 risk of sister-in-law changing my nephew's name. 6 months after a birth is harder to make a change in our state. We only started telling people the true name last week. My parents and sisters said it made sense. Friends and my in-laws understood why we did it. My brother told me I upset his wife by silently doing this and taking away her choice to match the boys. He told me it was a dick move. I told him his wife using the full name we chose was a dick move. I asked him if he considered how much tougher it would be with both boys enrolled in the same schools with the very same name. Not to mention banking, doctors, dental, all kinds of stuff. He told me plenty of people have the same name and it's not a big deal, and it's harder to mix shit up now, and we're just trying to gatekeep names. I think he's crazy. So does my wife. She said he clearly doesn't want sister-in-law to be mad. But am I the a-hole for what I did? Are we weird for thinking of this kind of stuff? I'm gonna read some of the comments because it sums up my point of view. Definitely not the a-hole. Your brother is outraged that you took away sister-in-law's choice to match the boys. What about the fact that she took away your choice to have an individual name by invading your privacy? Exactly that. She should have maybe, if she really wanted it to happen, talk about it and say, oh, I want the kid's name to match, but then when told no, should obviously back off. The fact that everyone is brushing over the fact that the sister-in-law just helps herself to other people's stuff and she really liked the name, she just wanted them to match. Which again is weird because they're not siblings, and also like he said, it's gonna make things harder, them having the exact same name. And also just how untrustworthy they are now, knowing that she snoops. I wouldn't want them in my life. Okay. This next one is by Go Through Runs. It's titled, Am I the a-hole for saying it's not my problem if my ex and her husband can't afford their kids? I, 30 male, was married to Marin, 30 female, and we have a son together who's now 8. When Marin was pregnant, I found out she was cheating on me with James, 33 male. James had a girlfriend who was pregnant at the same time. When my son was born, we needed a DNA test to find out if I was the father or James was. As Marin's husband, I was the legal father, and that made it easier when the DNA results showed he was actually mine, because she thought to name James his father. Things were toxic. James was there for everything in the later pregnancy and the birth, and Marin told me nothing. Her parents were the ones who gave me info on when my son was born, so I could file with the courts for a DNA test and custody, and our son's birth was also when our divorce could proceed. James's ex ended up giving him custody of their daughter, and so they had her full time, and my son 50% of the time, and a year and a half later they had a daughter together. At this point they have James's daughter and 4 children together, and I won custody of my son 3.5 years ago, because in order to force more money out of me, they wouldn't feed him enough and let him wear dirty old clothes, and I only pay child support because I earned more than Marin. But we had equal parenting time back then, so now Marin sees our son every other weekend. My son's in therapy to help him with all the mess he's witnessed and been a part of in some way in his young life. Marin was also ordered to pay a small amount of child support, but she only paid a few times. She always uses the excuse that she can't afford it, and that might be true. I never push it because I can take care of my son without her. For the last 2-ish years, Marin has looked to me to buy extra school supplies and share them among the 2 school-aged kids. So her stepdaughter and first daughter with James. I have always ignored those requests and sent my son with supplies and donated a few to his class as requested. I have never bought a single thing for the other children in my ex's household. Two weeks ago, my son had a small surgery and Marin showed up. Marin brought up the school supplies issue and asked me to please be decent about this and get some supplies for their girls because they couldn't afford them. She told me they struggle to support the kids they have as it is, and their other kids suffer. I tried to move away from her, but she followed me to another table. So I told her I don't care if they can't afford their other kids. I told her that her other children are not my responsibility and she needs to figure something else out. I told her she and she lost most of her time with him as a result. And my priority was my kid, not the kids she keeps having. I told her I would not discuss it with her again, and I haven't, but she has sent me many messages through the co-parenting app the courts have ordered us to use, where she calls me an arsehole and not a good dad to our kid. My lawyer knows. He tells me to keep ignoring her, and for those who might wonder, this will not remove her visitation with him. It was difficult enough to get primary custody after her denying our son enough food to try and make me pay more. Unless my son is older and doesn't want to see her or CPS removes the other kids, nothing will change revisitation. Knowing all of this, am I the a-hole? Absolutely not the a-hole. She's trying to guilt you by calling you a bad father and stuff, but you're the only person in this scenario that has been an adult and a good adult in this entire situation. You've done nothing wrong. James cheated on his girlfriend with Marin. Marin cheated on her husband with James. James and Marin keep bumping out kids knowing they can't afford the ones they already have and try and manipulate their ex-partners into paying everything for them and starving a kid to try and get money out of the father is a god-awful thing to do, whatever happened to putting your kid first. The OP has been a really good father the entire time and has been sensible, responsible, polite, he's dealt with everything in the proper manner, and so he's done absolutely nothing wrong. He's even ignoring the charges that she hasn't paid yet. Somebody said, how about this? One more insult, one more demand that I do things for the kids that aren't mine, and I will go to court for the balance you owe. That should shut her up or land her back in court, whichever she chooses. Yes, exactly that. You're already kind of doing her a favour by not forcing her to pay the child support. And on top of that, you owe her nothing. She destroyed your family that you had together by cheating and, trying to keep you out of the pregnancy when she had no right. And now is asking you to basically provide for kids that aren't yours. That's some wild audacity. So yeah, not the a-hole at all, and you are a amazing father. This next one is by Throwaway. Throw RA Pretty Dash Result. It's titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to wake up my husband when my parents visited and kicking them out when they insisted? Sorry for the throwaway account. I have colleagues that follow my main and I like to keep my personal life as private as I can. With that said, I will keep details as low as possible as well. Husband and I have been married for 5 years now and we are both 29 years old. The last 3 weeks, due to a complete screw-up in a department in the company my husband works for, it has been all hands on deck for my husband and his team to resolve the issues. My husband has been working 18 hours a day and even some days not coming home, working throughout the entire night and into the next day. I don't know much about the issues exactly, but what I do know is that if they do not resolve the issues, it will be a $50 million loss for the company. The issues are not the result of my husband or anyone in his team, but they are the ones that have to fix the issues. I I can see the exhaustion in my husband's face when he comes in at 2 to 3 in the morning, when I'm awake and leaves at 7 again. I don't know how he is doing it and just keeps going, but I try my best to keep as much as possible off his plate at home. As much as possible off his plate at home until he could get the issues resolved. Before this, he has been nothing but supportive and helpful around the house. When he comes home, he eats. When he comes home, he eats, showers, and goes straight to bed. I have found him some nights literally sleeping at the table while he was busy eating. When I went down to check on him, because he still wasn't in bed yet, and I got woken up, or him passed out on the way, on the foot of the bed, with the shower running and him still in his work clothes. 2 nights back he got home at around midnight, which is late, but he was too early from when he normally gets back, and I thought something bad happened because he looked like a ghost. But through his exhaustion he gave me this massive smile and said they did it, and everything is done. He told me the boss gave them each a couple days off, and he only needs to be back in the office next week, Tuesday. He ate dinner, took a shower, and got into bed. I got up the next morning around 9 and made breakfast. I thought about waking up my husband but didn't and let him sleep. Around 12, my parents visited me. I normally work from home and they do visit from time to time, seeing as I'm 6 months pregnant as well. I greeted them and we sat down and had coffee. Around 30 minutes into their visit, they asked where my husband was, because they saw his truck in the driveway. I told them he was still sleeping. My mother gave me a look and said it's unacceptable for my husband to still be sleeping past 12, especially with a pregnant wife, and I should wake him up. I told them no and to leave it, and then explained the full situation of what happened the last 3 weeks to them. They didn't budge and insisted I wake my husband up. Apparently it's not right for him to sleep in with a pregnant wife. It went as far as my mother standing up and saying if I wouldn't do it, then she would go and wake him up. I stood up and blocked my mother from going up the stairs. And told my parents if they find it so wrong for my husband to get proper sleep after 3 weeks of barely any, they should leave our house, because I will not, and I refuse to let them wake him up as well. I told them I will let my husband sleep until he wakes up himself. I will not disturb him, and I will not allow anyone else to disturb him either. They asked if I am kicking them out, and I said yes. If they can't respect my request to leave my husband alone and let him sleep, they are no longer welcome. Their whole visit lasted around an hour. Around 3 p.m. I got bombarded with texts from other family members berating me for kicking my parents out of our house. Even my sister and brother berating me for doing it, telling me I'm the a-hole for kicking them out for just trying to help. Even after I explained the situation, some family members are still on my parents' side, saying I overreacted by kicking them out because they were only looking out for my safety, seeing as I'm pregnant. Edit. Unfortunately, I have a family that is somewhat close and loves the dog. Secrets don't stay secret in this family for long, especially with my aunts and cousins that can't keep anything to themselves. As soon as they know something, everyone else has to know it as well. Bit of of extra information I see keep getting asked. This is my first child. She will also be the first grandchild and the first child born in the family in the last 20 years. Absolutely not. The a-hole, and the best wife award goes to her. I understand the parents being a bit concerned if, like, oh, he's sleeping in at 12. Is this what he does every day? Is he not looking after you, kind of thing? But she fully explained the situation, and considering they're married, I would assume the parents know him enough to know, like, his judge of character, and that he wouldn't be, like, doing it for no reason. So once they had it explained to them and they still continued, that's where they became the massive a-holes. That poor guy has been running himself down to the ground, trying to fix mistakes that were not his. Like, the fact that he was falling asleep, eating his food, and falling asleep, like waiting for the shower. He literally was exhausted to the point where if he carried on, I'm surprised he's not, like, hospitalized, like, getting a huge lack of sleep like that and working yourself down like that, like, will kill you. So, yeah, let the poor guy sleep. Those parents are a-holes and she is the best wife, okay? This next one is by consistent-prize 4150. It's titled, Am I the a-hole for asking my mum why I should go see her stepkids when she ignored me for them so many times while I lived with her? My parents got divorced when I, a 19 male, was 4. They split custody of me and I had a good relationship with both until I was 11. That's when my mum started dating her husband and when she became one-track minded when his kids were around. They were years younger than me and he was their sole parent, so mum used that as an excuse. But it was hurtful and my mum promised she'd do better, but she didn't. There are a few incidents that come to mind where this was super clear. Mum's stepkids wanted new toys, so Mum took them shopping and told me to tag along. I asked her while we were on the way if I could drop by a gaming store and she didn't answer. I asked her when we got to the mall and she ignored me again. She didn't talk to me at all while we were at the mall, and when I told her I was going to the gaming store and I'd be back, one of the stepkids started screaming that they wanted me to stay, so Mum stopped me from going. When we got back to her house, she told me we went for her stepkids, not for me, and I spoiled it by upsetting them. Another time we went through a drive-through and it was busted, so Mum left us in the car and went inside for food. She didn't get what I actually asked for and shrugged it off when I told her she got me the wrong order. When I was grumpy about it that night, she told me she hadn't time to go back and the kids needed to get home. And I was making a big deal out of nothing. I told her she went back in because one of her stepkids got the wrong drink and she told me it was different because he was little. She was supposed to meet me at the climbing gym for us time. She was late, so I called and texted. No answer. I waited for an hour 40 before I called Dad and asked him to drop me off at Mum's place. She wasn't home, but neither were the kids. 2 hours after I got back, she came home with the kids and said nothing while the kids were up, so I yelled at her. Then, when she got the kids in bed, she yelled at me for yelling at her, and Then she took away my phone for not being more understanding, and yelling and saying fuck her stepkids. And yelling at me for saying fuck her stepkids. Last one for this post, because I don't want to keep you here all day. But her and her husband took us out for our family day. She spent that whole day doing stuff with her stepkids and shrugged off my hand when I tried to get her to listen to me, because I was asking her to do something with me. I walked back to the car when I realized that was going to be the rest of the day. Nobody came to get me, but that night she told me her stepkids got upset because they wanted to do some things with me and I was gone. I told her she ignored me and she said she had younger kids to pay attention to. I told her all she cared about was them and she told me I didn't care about them at all. I asked her why would I. She said I acted like I needed her attention 24/7 when I was plenty old enough to not get jealous. This kind of stuff happened a lot, and like I said, Mum told me she'd fix it, but she never did. I hated her for it and I resented her stepkids, and she pretty much helped me decide I would never want to be a part. I would never want to be part of one as an adult. I don't want the stepkids or to give my future kids a stepmom if I find myself in that position. She called a few times and asked me to visit her stepkids, but ended the call when I said no. Then she called me again about a week ago and told me her stepkids miss their big brother, and when am I visiting? I said never, and she told me I need to because I'm their brother and they love me. I asked why I should see them when she ignored me for them so many times when I lived there. She said it wasn't their fault, and I told her I didn't give a crap about their stepkids. She called more times and I didn't answer, and she texted and I'd ask her the same question every time. She told me I'm not making her want to spend time with me, and I told her she wasn't making me want to spend time with her stepkids. I get my responses may be petty and it's not the kids' fault, but I don't want a relationship with them. Am I the a-hole? No, you are not the a-hole at all. She is the worst mother. And I hope that once they're old enough to understand, somebody explains to them why their big brother never came back home, because she needs to be held accountable for being such a shitty parent. Someone else in the comments said, not the a-hole. Tell her in no uncertain terms that if her stepkids are sad and miss their big brother, it is the direct result of her utter failure as a mother. Let her know how despicable she is for throwing you away, and that it defines who she is as a person. That's why her precious stepkids That's why her precious stepkids will also despise her one day too. Someone else said, not the a-hole, tell her you are just